guys, welcome to week 14 of our weekly wrap. We're both feeling pretty good today. Had a deloading day this morning, which is just taking a bit of a load off, higher reps, shorter workout, and yeah, nice little sleep in too, 7:30 start I think it was, so that was awesome. We'll start off with how our week went. So Adam, how's your food, nutrition been?
Food on song, the best thing is on Sundays, I always do my food prep. Again, we talked about this before as far as what works best for both Jake and myself. We've got fairly different techniques, but I do all my food prep on a Sunday, have it all ready for the week, so it doesn't, it's nice and easy to stick to, and I don't have to worry about cooking during the week except for breakfast and dinner. I'd say 9.9 out of 10 because there can be that little gram of sauce here and there. I'm going to be really critical of myself, but I weigh all my sauces, like everything now. I'm at a new low after high carb day, but Wednesday it's going to be interesting to see what I'm weighing in at. But all in all, food, fantastic. I get a little flat days here and there, but that's just due to training volume and intensity. Training as such, again, Jake and I have just beaten ourselves to a pulp pretty much. It's been pretty much another level each week. It tends to step up again and again, but there's certain exercises, PBing and continual PBs. I'm actually really enjoying legs at the moment.
Yeah,
it's been good. It's been some really good poundages and for reps as well. Jake loves his RDLs, which he'll explain as well. And but yeah, food and training all been on song. And another thing I want to make note of is that through this period, I really wanted to make sure that, especially through this whole dieting period, that I didn't want to isolate myself or not do something just due to my eating, my food requirements altogether. And on the weekend, I think we had a little get together on the Friday afternoon, and also on the Saturday we had a bucks and did golf and everything. But I was as happy as anything, sipping on some Pepsi Maxes, and it's actually good to sit back and just watch it all unfold. And so I was quite proud of myself to be able to go and enjoy myself thoroughly and sit back and enjoy a few Pepsi Maxes along the way. So
nice, sounds good.
How about yourself, buddy? How's your food and training been?
Yeah, training obviously don't have an option but to try and beat every week training with you, but I think PBs on squats this week, and then everything else was just hard as. I think chest I do right too.
Yep.
And then food's been pretty good. I'd probably give myself 8 out of 10 this week.
Yep.
Had a movie night, and instead of trying to indulge on what everyone else was around me, I just got crackers and cottage cheese, which sounds boring, but I actually loved it.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. And then otherwise it's been really good. Nothing's really changed up for me this week.
Yeah. Just
trying to be nice and consistent.
Yeah.
And loving training. It's going good.
It's tough. It's very, very tough. And even when you do get a sleep in, you're feeling recharged. You still, I don't know. It's just where both of us, and I can answer for Jake here, have never looked forward to having that rest day during the week there so much, because it's warranted and we've earned it.
Yeah. And
instead of, there's been times there where we've trained like for a month straight, if not longer. But there's never been a time like this where basically, that rest day is really needed tenfold. And I think not tomorrow we got legs, so no doubt we'll post that on the Insta wall. Our Instagram stories, if you guys want to know what we're doing training wise, we tend to post a lot of stuff on there. Today was hard because it was just, it took us a while to get into it, but you'll normally see what we're up to. Just search for Walk the Talk Legacy, all one word, on Instagram if you want to follow us there and follow our training sessions as well. Yeah,
it's been nice having that rest day off. I've found a difference in knowing that it's coming, so I go my absolute hardest every session, because I know I just got to make it through tomorrow. Legs, go my hardest, and I get to rest for a day. Yeah. Whereas training day after day for so many months, I don't know, just sort of slows you down. You just it's made a big difference. It's been good.
I think programming too, like it's been extra hard because it's the majority of our training is all compound movements, and what by that I mean it's like barbell rows, deadlifts, squats, presses, like it's ongoing rotate, like it's rotated to give us maximal rest, but and 2 leg sessions Actually, I think it's within 6 days or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's pretty tough, but definitely enjoying the challenge and enjoying my day off as well.
Yep. Yeah, nice. All right, I'll jump into my first topic, which is sleep. And I've chosen that because of last time we did the weekly wrap, I was really sleep deprived, and then I watched a couple of podcasts, and that sort of motivated me to look further into it because I thought it was really interesting. And yeah, obviously sleep's important, everyone knows that, but you can't just say sleep more because, okay, yeah, how sort of thing. So I tried to look into that and tried to find out how you can sleep smarter, not necessarily longer. And researchers found that sort of 10 till 2 p.m. at night, if you can be asleep like just before 10 and make sure you're asleep by 10 and 2, then you're in the deepest state of sleep. Your body's set up to be in the deepest state of sleep during that time, and your human growth hormones will be at their highest levels then as well, if you can be asleep during that time. So that's when you're going to get the most energy replenishment. Your muscles are going to be in that recovery process, like in its deepest state through that period of time. And then the second thing is to be able to exercise in the morning, even if it's 5 minutes. They said like nice high intensity interval training first thing in the morning shows that anyone that does that has a way better sleep, deeper sleep, and their cycles are going to be more consistent. So they get to sleep on time, they're able to fall asleep easier, everything like that as well.
Well, and touching on that though, is we can also speak from experience as far as morning training versus evening, because when you're training so hard, it's pretty much put your body in fight or flight mode, and it's so hard to wind down, and because you're still on edge, you might have had pre-workout or whatever it may be, but getting to sleep, I've always found in the evening after training is so much harder. But in saying that, for those people who've got no choice but after work, you know, they've got to make do. But very, very interesting. Yeah,
that's it. It's just nice to confirm it all because I've felt it myself since we've changed. It's been heaps better. But it's nice to see it in studies backing it up, which has been cool. The other big thing that is really hard to manage is managing your technology use before going to bed. So they reckon at least it's better if you don't use it all night, but at least try and cut back half an hour before you go to bed. Is going to make a big difference, because when you've got blue or white light looking at you before you go to bed, it reduces your melatonin levels, and it takes an extra hour for them levels to be up high enough for you to fall asleep nice and easy.
It's very, very interesting.
Which is interesting because you can be so like screwed physically, which I am usually, but if I'm on my phone then just try and go to sleep, I'm screwed but I can't sleep, and that sort of demonstrates why I'm able to sleep. So I might start trying that from tonight and see how I go over this next week. Because once I fall asleep, I'm sweet, but it takes me a little bit longer than I'd like. So now I'm just going to cut off the light, probably listen to a podcast, and just have no light in the room. The biggest thing that was surprising, I didn't tell you about this, but if you have light in the room, and say you've got your eye mask on or whatever to block that light, your skin actually has sensors that will pick that light up and send signals to your brain telling you that it's daytime.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty crazy.
Wow, yeah, that's very, hence probably blackout curtains.
Very
important.
That's it. But they did a study with a light under someone's leg, and their body was able to pick up and sense that and signal that it was daytime, and then melatonin levels were reduced because of that. So I thought that was pretty crazy. So no light at all. You can get certain glasses that'll block it out, but still your body can pick it up. So I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting.
So that's basically sleep wrapped up. The last thing was I found this study where they did 5 hours sleep versus 8 hours sleep, had them on like controlled diets and exercise and stuff, and they found that those who had 8 hours sleep consistently over those who had 5 were able to burn on average 55% more body fat over that time period, and it was just, I think it was 3 months they did the study. So that was pretty cool as well.
I think, and Jake and I had a chat about this earlier, is that, you know, sleep helps regulate everything from hormonally and cortisol, your stress levels, your ability to burn fat, joints, brain fat, like the list goes on. But I think that hinders a lot of people's ability to progress the way that they potentially could. And we find that a lot of people are doing everything else right, but their sleep patterns are a bit out of whack on how much that does hinder progress as well. So, you know, stress being lifestyle related, exercise related, but additional stress and increasing cortisol from lack of sleep as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's some really good information to take as far as some certain little routines you might have to put in place for, you know, getting to bed a lot more efficiently. And the other thing too, like Jake said, I always listen to a podcast or I like reading, and sometimes when I'm dead set, I have an aim to read X amount of pages per night, but sometimes I'm absolutely gone. Once I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, someone probably will, but there's something to do with the way your eyes go when you're reading. It's a form of meditation or something along those lines, which helps you get to sleep.
Yep.
I've heard something like that there somewhere, but it works.
And having a routine, they talked about as well, this is on a different podcast I listen to, but having a routine going to sleep is so important. Everyone has one to wake up, or some people have one when they wake up, but going to sleep lets your body know that it's in routine and this is what's going to happen, you're about to go to sleep. And see, like even having a TV in your room, you can walk in there and just seeing the TV, not even on or anything, can let your body know that, okay, you're going to watch TV, even though you're ready for bed. That's what it's used to doing. So it puts it off. So it should be like a sleep cave, and all your entertainment should be done outside. So when you go in, your body knows what it's in for, and it prepares itself. Yeah, exactly. So it was pretty interesting to see, because these are all studies done to try and show how to sleep smarter and all this sort of stuff. So
it's very interesting, because that's a huge factor we're coming across with our clients or mentees as far as walk the talk, and sleep is a big factor, well, huge contributing factor to the overall progress. But irregular sleep patterns we come across it pretty much nearly every person's had or is having some sort of difficulty as far as sleep is concerned.
The last thing is trying to manage cravings when you're tired as well is really hard. It's so much easier after a good sleep and you say, nah, not feeling it. But when you're tired and sleep deprived, it's just so easy to give in.
Especially when you've got caramellos in the freezer.
Yeah, exactly. Birthday cakes and so.
Dear. All right, going on to my topic, there was again, Jake and I are always upskilling and researching and listening to the gurus out there and the science behind things as well. And I think an important one that we get asked a lot is meal timing or frequency or nutrient timing. 10 years ago, this used to be a huge craze as far as the window of opportunity and you know, your anabolic window, etc., especially after training within the hour type thing. And research has shown, you know, again, it's all within reason, but especially don't think, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to group all my macros together, all my calories, and just have it in one meal. I mean, you've got to be sensible about it. But what research has said that's favourable is around that 3 to 5 meals, just to keep a consistent drip feed effect and stimulate protein synthesis or repair and recovery. And you know, the thing that I get is a lot of people can't snack through the day due to work commitments, or it just doesn't work within their lifestyle because of family and work and kids and these types of things. But you know, sometimes you might only get breakfast and dinner in, but you've also got to understand it's a lot of food to eat within those 2 meals as well. So what I'm trying to say is you've got to pick something that works for you, that you can keep consistent with. And also, if you are on higher food, as long as you are consistent and you're coupling the majority of your meals with carbs and protein together. And the other thing to keep you satisfied and fuller for longer is fibre, the fibre content that you also got to manage and keep into consideration as well. So if you're on higher food, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meals, again, the ball's in your court. And nutrient timing, this was a huge one as well, is that, oh, okay guys, you know, within an hour after training you got to get your shake in and away you go. Your body doesn't go, okay, look, sorry guys, it's been an hour, all your gains have gone now, you've missed the window of opportunity and it's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. The other thing too is you've got to understand, as long as within that 24-hour period you are consuming and hitting those numbers that your body requires or that you've been set with as far as proteins, fats and carbs, within reason. It doesn't mean train and then 8 hours later eat. It means, look, you're not going to be much worse off whatsoever if there's a 2-hour gap between training and food, or a 1-hour gap. It's not going to it's not going to hinder your gains as such. And I can speak from days and days and days of training where I've gone hours without food and I've still progressed. But all within reason. Now, if we're talking of someone who is calorie deprived or in a really in a real calorie deficit and has been for quite some time for dieting or comp prep, then meal timing or high energy foods and carbohydrates, really making sure around training time that it can give you a bit of energy and get you through those sessions a little bit more effectively. But the problem is that what you've also got to take into consideration is if you pull all your carbs around training and you're calorie deprived, and you put all your carbs around training and dinner time, you know that you get hungry and you get a lot of cravings. That's something you've also got to take into consideration about putting some carbohydrates or something in there and plenty of fibre that's going to keep you satisfied. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is whatever you can keep consistent to and adhere to, that's something that you've definitely got to take into consideration as well. And that probably moves us on to the next subject that I wanted to talk about is adherence altogether. Is that I put a video together not too long ago as far as program adherence, or being able to stick to a program, is probably the biggest reason why a lot of people just fall off the wagon and thinking that they have to stick to a set program that they've read in a book, or if they skip a meal it's all over, or whatever it may be. It's whatever you can be consistent with and stick to that works for you within your lifestyle, that you can adopt and know that this is something that you can follow with ease for indefinitely. So, too many people have set these 12-week, goals as far as something ridiculous numbers-wise, where they've got to lose all this weight and get to their certain size dress or whatever they have in particular as far as a time frame and a goal. But the thing they don't realise is, well, what also happens following that goal? And then that's the same thing when they tend to fall off the wagon, and then they're back to where they started, plus probably an extra few kilos. So it's like summing up the meal timing. You got to find something that works for you, but more importantly is you got to start. There's too many people I hear time and time, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna, next week, oh no, this week isn't really, there's never going to be a good time. There's always going to be roadblocks and hurdles. There's always going to be people and events. There's always going to be something there. There's never going to be any perfect run through when you're trying to make this healthy lifestyle phase of it all. But you've got to find something that you can stick to relatively well. You can keep consistency with it, and you know that you're not going to fall off the wagon after 4 weeks of it too. So hence going back to why Jake and I always highlight the art of flexible dieting. And guys, if you don't know what flexible dieting is, I definitely look into it, because it's a way that you can choose foods that work for you.
And we're back. So yeah, what I was asking you,
Jesus.
Whoa, what was that?
Far out. I thought that was just lucky. Right. Yep.
Adam, is there a time that you can be in the right mindset to start, or can you just start even if you're not in the right frame of mind, and then that will come later?
Well, I think a really good question, because it's like having kids.
Yeah.
There's never going to be a right time. It's a big step forward. It's a game changer, but there's never going to be a right time. But I think for anything, especially when you're thinking, is it going to be a right time, is that what health and fitness does, not only aesthetically but mentally, healthy body, healthy mind, is that the benefits far outweigh whether you're in a right mindset or not to start. And I just think, you know, yes, having an ideal macro goal, but understanding it's just baby steps in between and moving, putting one foot in front of the other, you know, each and every single day. And, you know, over time, yes, well then your mentality and your attitude to health and fitness, to business, to your relationships all starts to change by the way your body's, you know, functioning and firing on all 8 cylinders. So I don't particularly think that you're like, oh yep, today, no, it is the right time to go, away we go. I think it's about being able to, one, get educated. 2 is being able to find those right support circles around you. It's so important to have someone that you can be on the same journey with, or you know, friends and family that get it and understand, you know, what you're going through as well. So it's a it's a very, very interesting question as far as that's concerned. I don't believe that there is going to be an ideal time just to go, yep, I'm ready to start and away we go. But I think, you know, having a good support network around you, getting educated, and understanding, yes, there's a big goal, but you know, moving one foot in front of the other each and every day to get closer to that goal. So,
cool.
Yeah,
it sounds good. So I guess you could say, like, sometimes in some circumstances they might not be in the right frame of mind because they're missing health or they're missing nutrition and exercise.
Yeah.
Which is why they're in a bad frame of mind to start with. So it's only going to do good stuff for them if they're getting into it straight away with a bad frame of mind.
Yeah, the amount of people that we come across that are going through tough times, whether it be depression, anxiety, or a variety of other medical conditions. Again, we're not doctors, but when doctors recommend, what's the first 2 things they recommend? 1, exercise. 2, watch what you put in your mouth because it affects this.
Yeah.
So in saying that, you know, the benefits far outweigh whether you're in a good or bad mind frame, but it's making a relatively you know, reachable target initially. But yeah, it's to start. I think Kostya was the one when he had all these CDs years and years ago, and he said the number 1 thing is to start.
Yeah,
that's you know. So I think you get the ball rolling. You don't wait till tomorrow. You make the decision. You get going then, and seek, you know, professional guidance as well. Because again, the amount of years it's taken us to get the knowledge and understanding behind us to get this platform together as far as Walk the Talk Legacy. You know, we've made so many stuff ups along the way. So seeking that professional help and guidance can definitely shortcut a lot of the mistakes that you can potentially make, and probably pull out a lot of the bro science or the he said, she said garbage that you tend to hear all the time that, you know, doesn't have any credibility behind it as well. So I think that one, hey, it's a widely debatable topic, but I believe the whole health and fitness regime and introducing that relative to what mind frame you're in, it won't make it, it'll only improve and positively impact your life as a whole.
Yeah, and you think about what we do if we are heading in a bad frame of mind. You get in the gym, you train, and it's usually a touch better than before you went in. If you skipped it, it just makes it worse.
Yeah, and then the habitual side of things starts to take place, and then that's when, especially a lot of people after a big weekend or an event, you know, that's where we train a lot of our clients to say, no matter what, no matter how you're feeling, no matter if you're on a Debbie Downer or whatever it may be, the next day you make sure you get in, you get back on the wagon, you train, you sweat it out, and you're back in routine, regardless. And a lot of that there, and the mind frame and the will to do something like that is your support networks and having the accountability side behind you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. That answers that one. That's awesome. Next, I might just touch on, you've gone over the power list before.
Yes.
Power list being 5 critical tasks that you have every day, and you cross them off as you do them over a period of time before they can become a habit, and then you can bring a new task in.
I think 21 days. 21 days without thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's when it's time. Self-analysis. Jake uses that term a lot. after 21 days, and you know it's like just tying your shoes. I like using that one because it's just what you do. Don't even think about it.
Yep.
After a certain time period, you sit back on whatever those might be 2 critical tasks there that it just become habit. It's 21 days. It's ingrained. It's time to take them off and put a couple of newbies in there as well.
Yeah, cool. So I sort of touch on that because I've started using it properly this last week, and not just using. You can't just use tasks that you want to do for the day. It has to be tasks that you'll do every day that's going to become a habit. So it can't be paying bills or whatever it is. It has to be like reading 20 pages a day, and you do that until it becomes a habit. Now you can replace that with something else. So it could be hitting your macros, it could be making sure you train 100% sort of thing. So been using that. And
cooking your wife dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What have I done differently this week is just doing my list, and then down the bottom is trying to create a mindset, trying to create habits. So I've got a W and an L, and you have to circle one of them. So either a winner or a loser day that you've had, and then I make note. You can do whatever you think is relevant to you, but I say if I have a winner day, then I'll say you've created a winner mindset, and then keep up the good work. So just a note for myself. And then if I've had an L of the day or a loser day, then I say you've created a loser mindset. And that, like, calling myself a loser hits me hard, and then the next day I want to get my task done. So that's the only little bit that I've sort of added on to the power list, or just made sure I'm doing this week.
Yeah.
Are you still doing it? Or?
Yeah. I admit there's a couple of days here and there that I've been missing it as well, and there's no excuse at all. There's just been so much going on, but that is the worst excuse possible. When I implement it, it's amazing too, because what it feels like when you've put a big fat red line across those 5 critical tasks and you've got a win on the day, it's a big feeling of self-accomplishment. But when the L's there, it dead set feels like you've failed yourself on the day. And and I always found too, and when I started talking about it originally, is buying a book that you can manually write it in, because it's a whole different level of mentality and ingrained thought as well. And not only that, you can look back over 50 days to see what the critical tasks that you can achieve. But the biggest thing I found, like even running businesses and everything that's going on within our world, is that you might have a busy day, but there might be certain tasks or very little actual tasks that you fully completed throughout that whole day. And when you think it's only 5, if they certain 5 critical tasks there, it can be a big job to get those done through the day as well. And eventually when you get good at it, it can be 10, 11, 12 o'clock and they're all done. Well, then you've won the day. Everything else over and above is an absolute bonus. So I find it's a tough one too, because you've got to be smart about what task you put in there. Otherwise it's just like I could be here till 11 o'clock at night trying to finish some of them. But I think that winner/loser mentality and what you write, like it hits home hard at the end of the day when you haven't achieved those critical tasks. And it might be simple things like finish newsletter subscriptions, and you haven't done it, and you can't lie to yourself. You can't put it.
I just think it's so good, because so many people trying to give you advice how to be successful and whatnot, but nothing's really that you can apply every day. You can't use it every day, but this you can. I think it's just so cool. I think we should keep touching on it over time to make sure we're both doing it. And I think we'll do wonders. Well, hopefully.
What's the difference between those who want and those who've got is execution. Is executing on the game plan and winning each day. I mean, there's so many people that want all these things but aren't willing to put the steps into action. So I think it's tough to get the ball rolling initially and gain that momentum. But I suppose once you ingrain that habit and that winner mentality, it just becomes a part of what you do and your makeup as well. So I think the power list is something that's definitely, out of all the information out there and these programs and different, steps that they say that you need to do each day to be a winner, etc. This is by far the most relatable and easy.
And practical. Something you can just start using straight away. Like there's so much motivational stuff and that. It's all good, gets you pumped up, and then it dies off. But this is just super practical. start doing it every day, and it applies to anything you're doing in life, fitness, health, business, study, whatever it is, family goals. So that's really
I think a big one that you said was about customer service, which has really helped you progress, and obviously people are watching, and you've already been applauded for the great work you've been doing there.
So just having ensuring I give the best possible customer service at Rebel that I possibly can, and just knowing that that's on my list and having to do that, and then applying it and providing that service, and the feedback that's just come back after a few days of doing that. Like, I thought I was doing well anyway, but just putting that extra effort in is
You can't lie to yourself when you know you haven't given it your all. You can't.
You're the only one seeing it, so there's no point in lying to yourself. So that's been awesome. Loved it.
That's fantastic, and definitely let's touch on that a lot more as far as the accountability side. It's it's just one there that, again, whether you're going to apply it to health, whether you're going to apply it to business or life itself, it's a great one to be able to pop in there and put into practice.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Last,
practice makes, what was it?
Perfect practice makes perfect. So practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. We did have a weekly wrap before about bringing up weaker body parts, and one of it was training frequency and volume. Was one, definitely. The more you train it, it's like, if you get given $5 a week for a year, or you get $50 a week for a year, it's common sense. So and this is something that took a while for me to get on board, especially bringing up weaker body parts, was hitting it more often and more volume as well, because I was like, oh no, I'm worried about overtraining. Well, if it wasn't friggin' training hard enough, it'd be far from it. I mean, now's a different story, but volume and frequency and everything is all in place at this stage in time. But the other thing too is that the way you move and mind-muscle connection, and I was very fortunate when I had a few injuries. I mean, I wasn't fortunate getting the injuries, but having a great mentor and a trainer who taught me mind-muscle connection from day dot, and flexing with weight. I mean, that's pretty much what you're going through, because a lot of people just go through the movements and trying to hit their numbers without actually thinking about the muscles that they're trying to work. And this is a foundation component Jake and I ingrain in all of our clients or mentees. And there's a few in particular which, when you're looking at a physique, you can tell from a mile away. And the funny thing is when we ever get someone in, or we're doing a particular hands-on workshop for clients or one-on-one training, and especially when they first walk in the door, is you ask them when they do the movement, then they sit up and you go, where'd you feel it? And you know straight away. And two in particular, and I know the guys are going to love to hear this, is I deal with guys who have just started training. Jake and I deal with people just the very beginning, to personal trainers we train, to people who are experienced, have been training and weightlifting for 20 years. But the thing too is that these people might have ingrained a certain habit, or it's like a golf swing. You might have an awesome golf swing that you keep hooking it, doesn't matter. And a lot of guys, they tend to get great development out through their shoulder and their outer pec, and they think, more, flies and cable crossovers and these types of movements are going to get and generate that thickness through there, whereas it's actually teaching them how to properly position their chest and their shoulder blades. And it's like Christmas, honestly, when you see the look on some of the guys especially, because I know how much chest applies for them, and it seems to be their number one thing they always want to bring up. When they get to squeeze and flex and activate their chest for the first time, teaching mind-muscle connection, it's amazing. And especially guys after 20 years who are double our age, who've never felt that sensation before. And the reason why I was touching on chest is because the majority of guys, when they train, they feel it in the front of their shoulder and their outer part of their pec. So what we're going to do is we're going to start putting together a few practical videos that you can utilize straight away sit on your phone while you're training and utilize these particular techniques, chest being one of the major ones, because we want to make sure that after a session you can feel it throughout the entire chest and you're not just feeling it in your shoulder and your outer pec. There's reasons for that, and it's actually relatively easy, but it's been able to develop that mind-muscle connection for it. You got anything on the chest? You found that over?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then just especially flies, it's all just like people are just using shoulders,
They
front
think they're
shoulders. They're like, oh, I'm not feeling it in the chest. A couple little tweaks.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
I think a lot of you guys listening right now can relate to what we're talking about. I think it was about 3 years of total frustration for me, because guys, come on now, we all can admit it. We get too caught up in just lifting the weight and how much poundage, how much do you bench, bro? My question to them is, how well do you bench? That, quality over quantity. When quality is there, quantity will come, but you've got to ingrain that habit as you go through. The other is, like a lat pull down or a row. A lot of people as well, they tend to get a lot of outer back activation, or shoulder roll when they're doing any lat pull down movement. They'll pull down and they'll roll, and you see a lot of people doing chin-ups. So many people doing chin-ups. All these chins, and they might be banging them all out, but unfortunately it's all bicep and shoulder, and they're not actually activating through their lats. So guys, if this is you and you've felt this before, and when you're doing all your lat pull downs and everything like that, and you're getting it all in the shoulder there, that's something as well. It's very common. It's not as if like you've been doing things wrong your whole life or whatever it may be. It's just simple little activation processes. And Jake and I have experienced this time and time again with people, especially when fatigue kicks in. You've got to teach yourself these habits and these movement patterns till total failure, and in the end of the day, you grow the way you train. You want a balanced, symmetrical physique, and this is probably a lot of the reason why you see a lot of people getting shoulder development or out of back, and they don't get that good postural alignment. And the third is the whole rowing process as well. You've got two movements. You've got this movement here, and you've got that movement there. So without going into it, it's a two-man team, but normally one of the guys is working, the other's off having smoko. Yeah. so there's three straight away there that guys you can all relate to as far as it, and these little techniques and adjustments will do you absolute wonders and connect the dots for you. So we've been huge from day dot as far as mind-muscle connection, and this is something we really want to pass on to you guys in relation to certain movement patterns and techniques. And we definitely want to in future, especially with our client base as well, growing as the weeks go on, is to be able to perform some of these hands-on workshops for them as well, especially with squats and deadlifts, because a lot of people get really good quad development but fail to get good hamstring and glute thickness as well. Again, this is something that we can rattle on about for a very, very long time, but again, it's all piecing the puzzle together and just having the right information from day dot, and seeking professional guidance and support. And again, guys, if this is something that you've been sort of even listening to what we've been going through and need help as far as the whole flexible dieting, or you just don't know where to start, or you haven't got a structured program or training routine, this is what we do. This is what we specialize in. So feel free at any stage to reach out to us. And I'm going to ask Jake this one again, see how on the ball he is. Our email address.
wttlegacy@gmail.com.
Don't ever ask me that on 2 hours sleep. So wttlegacy@gmail.com. Instagram is all one word, Walk the Talk Legacy. You can send us a DM on there. Facebook, you can just search Walk the Talk Legacy, and walkthetalk.fitness. Again, guys, this is that's our website, walkthetalk.fitness, and there's a lot of cool features there that there's just so much information that we've got to still put forward in there. It's taken a fair bit of time, hence why we haven't properly and officially launched yet. But on there as well, we got some pretty cool things behind the scenes, which we won't even mention until they're closer by. But Yeah, food recipes, plenty of recipes there. There's blogs, there's a lot of articles. So even if you don't want to reach out with this and you want some of that added information, it's all there. And you know, even if we hope that in some way, shape or form that we've been able to inspire you to get the ball rolling as far as your own health and fitness program. And we've just been loving it, absolutely loving week to week the how you say, the roadblocks that we've come across, to the different clientele base, to doing this as well. We're just really on a roll now, and we're really enjoying it. And I look forward to going back on episode number 1 and giving that a watch as well. So
yeah, absolutely loving it. What are we at, day 20 now? Is it
20 or 21? Road to Vegas. It's honestly like it feels like so long, but it feels like it's barely even been a day. It's how many more days have we got? 150, 140, something like that. But I think that that's a cool goal for both of us, to keep our eye on the prize. But not only that, it shows you guys. I think the good lot of feedback from you guys is that we've been able to show you a big scope as far as what happens when we train, live videos,
just all the real stuff. There's no filters except for bunny ears and.
Jake pulled those ones on me this morning when I was halfway through my set. But
just laughing at him,
what you see with us is what you get. I think the best thing is when you meet us, it's us. Whereas you won't be. Oh, I hope not. You won't be filled with disappointment, because it's, you know, you see the food, you see the training. You know, this is why we've got this brand, is because we do what we recommend. We wouldn't put you guys or recommend anything that we haven't put ourselves through as a whole. And as the weeks go on, things get tougher, and we're loving it.
Yeah, it's going good. What are your plans for this week? Are you going to try and improve anything? Nutrition's pretty much on.
I think I'm just sticking to the game plan. Fingers crossed I don't get my macros dropped on Wednesday. I don't think my weight's coming down. I'm feeling like I'm getting leaner, but I think just sticking to the plan 100%. We've got a wedding on this Friday. I'll be going there and drink on the Pepsi Maxes again. So there's another event that I get to go to as well. Got mum and dad coming down on Saturday, Sunday. So that's going to be good. But I told them as well, I said, please don't feel like you can't go out, or we can't go out for dinner and these types of events, because of my dieting practices as well. So